Good evening, everyone. I hope you're all well and warm. Please do let me know if you can see and hear me loud and clear. I'd like to join you all in the comments. Okay, I see that you can see me. How are you all doing? Thank you for joining tonight's live class. My comments are hiding. Okay, let's just give that a couple of minutes. Welcome to everyone that is joining tonight's live class. Thank you so much for joining. Tonight is a beginner's class, proudly sponsored by Cricut South Africa and Logitech. My name is Caroline Tixera and I am a proud Cricut ambassador, and together we are going to be creating a very fun magnetic photo gift puzzle for Father's Day. It's a perfect gift for Father's Day and also an addition to any gift that you're going to be gifting this Sunday. I would like to encourage you all to take tonight's class as an inspiration to enter the challenge that is live right now on the Cricut Family South Africa Facebook page, which you are needing to create a project for every letter of the word father. And there is still lots of time to enter. I think it ends on Sunday, if I'm not mistaken. So there's lots of time for you to create something special, and we really cannot wait to see what you're going to be creating. So with that, let's get started. Let me just see if I can join you guys all in the comments here. Let's see. We cannot wait to see what you're going to be creating. Okay, there we go. Sorry about that. Hello to everyone. Hello Ntombi, hello Susan, Zelda, Karen, Natalie. Good evening to everyone. Okay, so this is the puzzle and it is a magnetic sheet, which is so cute. I have not yet decided on how I'm going to be gifting this, hence why I stole one of my envelopes from my Cricut Joy cutaway cards, just to place this one in for now. And I also decided to grab a box from one of the designs on Design Space, create a little box, and as you can see, it says, "Daddy, I love you to pieces." And I had my machine draw that on the lid for this project, and I placed in my other puzzle in here, which is so cute. It's so interactive, which my kids absolutely adore. So there you have it there. And yeah, my husband actually already saw this. He is not one to have or pay attention to all the details always, but of course he came into the house and it was on the dining room table and he thought this was the coolest thing on earth and asked me to make him one. So yeah, nevertheless, he's going to be getting quite a few now, which is super cool. So I used the Cricut Printable magnet sheets, which is compatible with the Joy Extras, Explore Series machines, and also the Maker Series machines. And they all can read the registration marks that is automatically printed once you do a print then cut project, which is lovely. Hello, Almarie. Okay, and I am going to be using a standard grip mat. I have a brand new one here. And just a tip for you guys, please do use a mat that is relatively new without any product or debris on your mat, because that does create a bit of a space or an air bubble in between your material and your mat, and that does cause for unclean cuts. Don't ask me how I know. All I can say is that I messed up a few sheets before, so learn from my mistakes rather. Hello to Anna Marie. Hello Toki, Ricky. There's a lot of new faces. This is so exciting. Welcome to you all. Okay, so let's get started on Design Space. Okay, so as you can see, this is my profile. And if you go down here, this is the project, these two puzzles that I have already created. Now, we are not going to be using this one tonight. We are going to be creating from scratch. And the reason for that is that because it has uploaded images onto this project, it now becomes a view-only project. So it is unable to be customized or personalized. But here is the box that I had already found on Design Space. This was one of the original projects. And yeah, you can just customize it to whatever size you prefer if you would like to place your magnet photo puzzle in this. So I'm going to click on New Project. And blank canvas. And let's click on Start Designing. Hi everyone that's joining. Okay, so because this is a beginner's class, I'm going to go quite slowly with all the steps. So the first thing we are going to be doing is uploading a photo. So here is one of the photos that I'm going to be using. So I'm going to already add that onto my canvas. And in the meantime, I'm going to just show you how to upload from scratch. So you will click here on top and you will click on upload image. If you minimize or make this window a little bit smaller, then you will be able to, if you have your photo ready on your desktop, you can just drag it on here and it will capture it there. But I'm going to click on browse, and depending on where you have your photo saved, you will just click on the file, and this is the one that I'm going to be using. And I'm going to click on open. Now this can take a couple of minutes because the files are relatively large, so it just needs to register all of that data. But yeah, it's actually moving quite quickly, which is wonderful. Okay, so here you can actually edit it however which way you want to. So if you click here on multiple layers, it will actually create up to 9 layers of separating it into color, which is very, very cool. But today we are going to stick to flat graphic because we are going to be using it to print then cut. Okay, so here you can change its name. So I'm just going to say Dad and Son. Whoa, not Son, not Zion either, Son. There we go. Okay, it's just taking a couple of seconds. Now the reason why I'm adding 2 is because, you know me, I don't like wasting. So I'm going to try and maximize the space on my A4 magnetic sheet as much as possible. So let's see if we can create 2 or more so that we do not waste some yeah, some of the space there. Okay, so as you can see, these photos are huge. So let's just select them both and just size it right down. Okay, so let's start with this one here. Okay, so creating this puzzle is actually very, very easy, and it's so exciting because the result is really something amazing. So yeah, we are going to, what I love about design here, Design Space, is that whatever is on your canvas, and you open up your images, it somehow curates whatever is similar to what is on your canvas to the images that is shown and popped up here, which is really, really such a cool way to maybe just add something that's similar to a project or add to your project. And I just love how they've done that. So that's really, really cool. So I'm going to search for puzzle. Okay, so I thought maybe we could do something different tonight. Instead of the square and the rectangle, maybe we can do a different shape, which I really like the heart, especially because it's Father's Day, and especially because I already have the square and the rectangle. Let's go with a heart. And I just love how my husband and my daughter are here, and it actually will be so cute. They're really like shaped in a heart, which is beautiful. So I'm going to go with the heart shape for this one. So now what's really, really cool is that it's already in front. So I'm just going to hide this one for now and zoom in a little so that we can work with that. Okay, so I like this size. I don't want to go too big. So I think an 11 by 10 will work. And I am just going to fit them perfectly into the heart, which I quite love. Just want to have his eye in there. I think that's quite cool. We don't have to be too pedantic with that. I actually quite love that. So I'm quite happy with that, and I'm happy with the size. So there is quite a lot of wasted photo along this. So how I'm going to remove that is I'm going to take my puzzle heart and I'm going to duplicate that. Oh, and then I'm just going to take them both, align them and center them. Once again, I'm just going to move them exactly where I want them, making sure they are proportionally in the heart, and I'm happy with that. If there are any suggestions or questions, please do pop them in the comments. Myself and the wonderful admin team will definitely try and get to all the questions. Okay, so here, okay, so we've got the two hearts. The one, I'm going to go here to the contour and I'm going to hide all contours so that we are left with a solid heart. And I'm going to click on apply. And I'm going to just hide this one so that we don't get confused. And I'm going to select both my solid heart and also my photo so that we can cut one out from each other essentially, which that we use the slice function. So remember, we can only slice 2 layers at a time. So that is why I also just hid this puzzle heart over here. And now I can delete that solid heart and also the rest of the photo that we're not going to be needing. And I can unhide that, and there is our first puzzle done. So I'm going to attach my puzzle basic cut operation to my print then cut photo, and I'm going to attach that. Hi Rulani, better late than never. Okay, so there is our very first photo puzzle done. Now remember, it is attached, so it's not a flattened piece, so you're not going to be seeing this black lines. It's going to be printing on the entire photo, and then it's just going to be cutting this, and this solid black line will be a border, which is so nice because then you know exactly where the puzzle pieces go, and it just makes the puzzle a little bit easier to assemble. Okay, so I think we're going to do the same with the next. They also positioned quite nicely to do a heart. So I'm going to once again choose the heart. Which one was it? This one. Okay. And I'm going to just make the photo a little bit bigger so it shows mostly their faces or their heads. And as you can see here on the layers panel, it's giving me a error that the image is too large to be able to print on. But that's okay, because once again we are going to be removing the excess and only working with the heart. So I'm going to go with the same sizing and just resizing the photo a little bit so that it's mostly just their heads. A little bit more. That's cute. Okay, I'm happy with that. Just going to place it more or less where I want it again. And again, duplicate the heart. Take both of them, align, center. Oopsie. Okay, I'm going to select them both and just place them onto the photo again. Okay, I'm happy with that. I'm going to hide the one, contour the other, hide all contours for our solid heart, and I'm going to select both my solid heart and my photo and slicing it. And now I can delete the border and the solid heart, and there is our photo done. Okay, and once again I'm going to be attaching these two together. And there is our puzzle. Now you can use any material essentially if you would like to not use the magnetic sheets. Of course you can use anything else. So you could also print this onto some printable vinyl of your choice and maybe add that to some basswood or some chipboard on the sheet, and then cutting your both your materials like that, just to create a little bit more of stability or a harder puzzle or an entire different project. So it's entirely up to you, and it's super versatile, so you can really do what you'd like with this. Hi Candace, how did your exam go? Hi Jackie. Okay, so there might still be some space on our design, on our sheet. So let's see if we can maybe just add a puzzle piece with a handwritten note from my kids to their dad. So let's try and get two different ones. I'm going to choose that and this one. Okay, I'm going to size them right down. Let's see if this works. Okay, once again, going to my uploaded images, and my kids wrote on a piece of paper, "I love you, Dad," or "Daddy." And let's see if we can add this to one of the puzzle pieces for just an extra little a little wow factor for my husband. I think he would really appreciate that. Okay, so I'm just going to change this to a guide just so that I can see what I am working with. I'm going to arrange and bring it to the front. And oh cute. I think this will actually work so nicely. Just going to rotate it, see if I can fit it in. Okay, that works perfectly. I wonder if it looks weird having the desk in the background. I'm going to try and just get all the white in there. Let's see. Yep, there we go. Okay, I like that. I think that looks very cute. Okay. All right, so I'm going to take my puzzle piece and my photo, and I'm going to slice that. And then I'm going to be removing that. Okay, and there is my next puzzle piece. And for my other child. Okay, sizing this right down. Okay, I'm going to arrange this, bring to the front, change it to a guideline again, just so that I can see. I don't know if this one's going to work. I might just show. I think that one's going to be quite difficult. Let me try another puzzle piece. It's hard to judge what will fit. This one seems to have quite a large area to work with, so let's try this one. I actually should have allowed a little bit of the table to be shown onto the other one, but I think this one's cool, even if it shows a little bit. Okay, I always have a giggle with myself. I can really just be so otherwise when it comes to these things, but yes. Okay, there we go. Let's slice that, remove that, and I'm actually going to change this back to a basic cut. Bring the other one to the front, and I'm going to flatten it. There we go, so that it will cut the border. And for this one, I'm going to add an offset on 0, which basically duplicates the shape. And I'm going to bring the photo to the front, select them both, and flatten that. And there is our 2 puzzle pieces. I think that's super cute. I think he would really love to see that on the fridge. Okay, so let's see if it fits onto our material. So I'm just going to save this as Father's Day magnetic puzzles. Milani says that the handwritten notes are a lovely idea. I think so too. I think it's going to be so nice. And we all have a Cricut addiction to some degree, hey? Which I think is very cool. And there's nothing wrong with that. Okay, so there is still quite a bit of space, so we can actually make these puzzles a little bit bigger, which I would not mind at all. So let's make them everything a little bit bigger, not too much. And let's see. Okay, so it's pushed now, this one, to another mat. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to click on these three dots and I'm going to move object to the top. And there I can just place it where I want to. And yes, there is some still negative space, but I think we can work with that. I actually think we can make it just a tad bit bigger. There we go. So Susie's asking, where do we get this magnetic sheet? So I purchased mine from my local P&A store, but you can have a look at our retailers. Maybe Takealot should have as well, depending on what stock is available. So yes, please do check your local craft shops that do stock Cricut, and you might also find them on the secret sale. That's www.secretsale.co.za, also dependent on what stock they have and what is available. Carla says it is blurry. Can somebody please confirm if it's just on her side? It looks clear on my side, so I do apologize for that. Lolly. Okay, I'm happy with that. So the reason why it actually took this to my next mat is because if you click on it, it creates a square of where the cutting area will be, and this one is slightly overlapping it. But we know that it's going to be cutting only on the heart, so we know that we can just manipulate that little bit of a space over there. So I'm just allowing for a little bit of space everywhere, and I'm happy with that. Okay, wonderful. Sorry, Carla, maybe just check your internet connection. Maybe it's something like that, but I hope it clears up soon. Okay, so I'm going to click on continue. I'm going to switch on my printer and going to disconnect my camera so that I can connect my printer. Okay. And now I'm going to click on send to printer. I'm not sure if you can see what I'm seeing, but here it shows the sensor marks that are added automatically with the arrow on top, and that is where you're going to place your material on the mat, to the left, to the top, and I'm going to click on next. I'm going to leave the bleed toggled on, and this just helps ensure clean cuts and prevents those tiny white edges from showing around your cut lines. And I'm going to click on system dialog and then going to click on print. So I'm not sure if this pops up. Doesn't seem like it. Okay, so this is where your settings for your printer pops up, and this is where you are going to be choosing material that is somewhat similar to what you'll be printing on. So the magnetic sheets is somewhat matte, so I won't be choosing glossy. I'm going to be choosing matte, and I'm going to change my print quality to the highest or to the best quality because it is photos. We want it to look very professionally done. Okay, so there we go. And now you can hear it printing. And I'm just going to click on done. Now this is going to take a couple of minutes, so I'm just going to share with you a couple of tips for printing and cutting for tonight. So like I mentioned earlier, please do use a clean mat. Like I said, if there's any debris on your mat, it causes a bit of a space or some air bubbles, which then just does not sit well when cutting, and then it causes a bit of a space and then it can ruin your material. And also with this, you can always, because it is photos and because it's such a beautiful keepsake, if you want to take a step further, you can add a cold laminate sheet on top of it, especially for those that have littles in the house. And if you're going to be placing this on the fridge, you know that their hands are not always so clean, and if they're wet, they just they are going to be playing with this most of the time. So you can always extend the longevity of your puzzle if you add a cold laminate on top before cutting, and then just adding some extra pressure. So that is, yeah, always a win. And then do remember, I will show you once my camera is back on and connected, do move your star wheels on your silver rolling pin, if you will, on your machine to the right, so that it doesn't imprint onto your material when it feeds through your machine to check if it is enough material onto your mat. Okay, wonderful, Carla. I'm happy that it's working again. So Anna-Marie is asking, will I be able to cut magnetic sheets with the Joy Extra? And yes, you are more than able to do it. It only needs the fine point blade. I've got my premium blade in my premium housing, but yeah, that's all you need basically to cut the magnetic sheets. It is a thinner material, so yeah, it is perfect for that, which is wonderful. Okay, so in the meantime, I'm going to click on Printable Magnetic Sheet, and as you can see here, it has the little Cricut logo, which means it is a Cricut consumable. So it is perfectly set for the settings that it needs to cut, and the pressure and the speed and all the things. So as you can see here, Anna-Marie, it says you need to load the fine point blade, which is what is standard on your Cricut Joy Extra, so you're more than able to do that. Yes, Nadia, you are able to use your standard fine point blade for cutting the magnetic sheets. Oh my goodness, this looks so cute. I wish my husband could get himself a Cricut machine and go through all the effort that I do for Mother's Day and birthdays and Christmas. I think we should be giving them the class. Oh, shame, Susie. I'm so sorry. So yeah, it is a little bit of a struggle, and one needs to be very delicate with them. You don't want to use any tools next to your machine when moving that. You don't want to damage anything, but I have just done it with a lot of grace and patience. Let me quickly see if my camera's working, then I can show you. Yeah, okay, so I usually just go low and slow and do one at a time. So there you go. If you do one at a time, it's a lot more easier. So now it's moving a little bit, and there we go. So I have used my scraper just to create a little space between the two, and then I use my fingers to push it to the side. So please do not take any tools close to your machine, and just do it with a lot of patience and one by one. Okay, so here is my magnetic sheet all printed. It looks so cute. I'm so excited. Another tip will be to definitely calibrate your machine before doing a print and cut project. Once it's calibrated, then it's good to go, so you don't have to keep repeating it every single time. But this is the calibration sheet that you will print, and then you can just follow the steps. It will cut on all the individual lines, and it will just tell you, or ask you rather, which one is the most accurate, and then it will calibrate your machine to your printer. So I definitely recommend doing that. And of course, every machine is different, so I do recommend always doing some test cuts before going full throttle into your project. Okay, so here's my brand new mat. And I'm going to place my magnetic sheet very slowly because it is very sticky, ensuring that it is straight. Okay, there we go. And inside your printable magnetic packet, you will see that there is a protective sheet. So I'm just going to use that just to rub gently onto it. I'm not going to be using a brayer because my mat is very sticky. Oopsie. Okay. And I don't want any smudging, but yeah, the printer did do a good job and it sat for a couple of seconds, so it is all good to go. Okay, so I'm loading it onto my machine and let's upload it. Okay, I'm happy with my pressure as default, so I'm just going to click on go. Okay, so now it's registering the sensor marks so that it will know exactly where to cut. So Jackie says that her calibration sheet gave her nightmares at Hobby X. How so? So one of the questions is, does it matter which way round you have your mat? I see your opening at the top, but on the preview, the opening is at the bottom. So I swap and change, and also that just depends on the stickiness of my mat, but you are able to use it either that way or that way. And what's nice is on the sides, you will see that there is some numbers that you can use to measure, and that will automatically go on to the same as your virtual mat on the Make It screen. I hope that answers your question. Has anyone that is joining tonight used the magnetic sheets before? And if so, what have you created? Okay, there we go. So, as always, please do check that it is cut, and there it is. So I'm going to remove it. And okay, because I'm not going to be reusing this, I'm just going to remove this off my mat as is. And as you can see over here, this is what the bleed does. It just adds a layer of the pigment. I don't know if you can see on all the cuts, just to ensure that there is no white edges. There you can see it again there. Okay, now we need to be extremely delicate with this, making sure my table is clean. I'm going to be removing my puzzle pieces. There are some tiny little pieces here. Okay, so let's go slowly. What I love about having the border with the puzzles, especially when they are a little bit on the smaller side, is that it just makes it so much easier to see where you are going to be placing it. Once a person gets a little bit more advanced and experienced with the with making puzzles, then one can actually just use one that is borderless. So I'm just slowly removing it from my mat. Okay, so there's my border. Here's these little tiny pieces. So by bending the mat this way, it just lifts off a little edge of every piece, which is wonderful and easy to remove. I think I'm going to do one at a time just so that I don't get confused with all the pieces. Okay, so adding some tension here as it is bending just creates a little space which helps remove it from the mat. Okay, and there is our handwritten note. So sweet. Here's the other one. Okay, and these are the little pieces. Okay, let's move this to the side so that I do not get confused. Okay, let's move up this one a little bit. Being very gentle. Okay. So there's a game on tonight. South Africa just scored. I'm seeing it in the comments. Oh, well done. So proud of our country. Sarah says there's a lot of shouting in her house. Oh my goodness, sister, I know what you mean. My husband's very vocal when it comes to his soccer and the scoring, so I'm glad I'm on the outside room and I cannot hear a thing. Okay, all right, last piece. There we go. Okay, going to cover my mat. Always remember to cover your mat again. And remember that there is a side up and a side down. So always mark it with a sticker like I've done here, which is very helpful to remember. Okay, so let's assemble. Okay, so there is our little handwritten notes puzzle pieces. Oh, that is super cute. I love that. Okay, so here is the one. Oh my goodness. This is now going to be testing. I'm really thankful for this border. That looks right, yes. I think they're going to have so much fun on Sunday pulling this together. That does not look right. There we go. Lucky for my husband, my kids are still little, so their little hands will really come in handy when building this. Carol says, let's see if Caroline can build some puzzles. How am I doing? It's actually so therapeutic. Should do one for my craft room. Oh my goodness, this is so cute. Man, this is too cute. Okay, and now these little ones. Carlos says I'm struggling a little bit. I am, hey. It's because these pieces are so tiny. This one goes here. I don't think I'm doing that bad. Okay, I'm going to use my Cricut tweezers for these. Steady hands, steady hands. I will definitely make them a little bit bigger next time. I think to have a magnetic sheet at the back or building this onto the fridge itself already would be a lot easier, just so that it has something to adhere to. And one can really edit this to really personalize it a little bit more and contour these little pieces to maybe make a much bigger piece. So that is also something worth looking into. Oops. Okay, last two. Look at that. Judy says I've got a lot of patience. I actually am a beauty therapist, or was, and I used to do lashes as well. And so I think that definitely counted in my favor. Here we go. There's our first puzzle done. So cute. On to our next one. We still good for time. Okay, that looks like it goes there. Just going to quickly get all my pieces here. Let's start with the easy ones. That looks like that goes there. Nope. Nope. Okay, there we go. Okay. I think my kids are also going to really love this. Such a special project. And like I mentioned before, you can really create this on a much stronger material that a person can even have it framed, which is also really, really special. So yeah, you can really create a lot of different things with this puzzle template. So of course, it's completely and entirely up to you. If you want to do it bigger, do a much easier design with it being the rectangle or the square or a more solid piece or bigger, that's entirely up to you. And yeah, for it to be such a simple project as what it is, I think it's really special to create and worthwhile to create something like this. So I'm hoping to see all of your guys' puzzles soon. I think I'm definitely going to put this one a little bit higher up on the fridge where my tiny little hands can't reach it. Because if I'm going to lose one of these pieces, it's not going to be very funny. Okay, last few. Actually sticking to my tweezers. Didn't realize what was happening. It is of course a magnet. So that's funny. There you go. So you can actually have a magnetic sheet cut to an offset of your puzzle and have that placed as a base inside your box or your packaging, and then have your puzzle rest snug into that, which is also going to help when assembling it into and then gifting it to your loved one. So that's something to consider. And there you have it. There is one, there is the other, the two handwritten notes, and there I just want to show you how much more easier it is if you do a different design. So I just flip them over and then flip it back over. So these are obviously a lot bigger and a lot easier to work with. So there is something for everybody. Sticking to my fingers. There we go. And there you have it. Susie says the tiny pieces are giving her anxiety. It's actually not that bad. Yeah, I think it helped with a little bit of the OCD-ness. So I think it's well worth trying. But if not, stick to one of these and then you will be, set up for success. I hope you all had a wonderful time this evening, and thank you so much once again for joining. I will see you in my next live. Take care, keep warm, and lots of love. Bye.